Yai, 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 bye, 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 yai, bye, 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 yai, bye, 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 yai, bye, bye. Yai, yai, bye, 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 bye. Yai, bye, bye, bye. Yai, bye, bye, bye. Yai, bye, 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 bye. Yai, 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 die, die, yai, die, 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 yai, die, die, yai, die, die, yai, die, die, yai, die, yai, yai, die, yai, die, yai, bye, 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 yai, bye, 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 yai, bye, 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 bye. Bye bye.
Shabbat Shalom. The night after Thanksgiving, I hope that it was a time of thanksgiving of all the goodness in our lives. And tonight, Shabbat, the opportunity not only to eat leftovers, but the opportunity to stay in that space of feeling the goodness of life, to count our blessings, which we do each week as we draw towards Shabbat. Our Shabbat services begin.
Page 10, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Hav HaRachaman, Mishoch Avdach, El Retzona, Yarutz Avdach, Kimo Haya, Yishtachave Muhadara, Ki Erev Lo Yedidu Tach, Minofet Tzuv Vechotam, Adonai Ziva Olam, Nafshi Cholat Avatach, Ana Elna Rifana Nala Behat Rotla Nin Ziva Az Tidchaze V'Titrape V'Haitala Shivchat Olam. Yai-da-dai-dai-da-dai, yai-da-dai-dai-dai-dai, yai-da-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai, yai-da-dai-dai-dai-dai, 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 yai-da-dai-dai, yai-da-dai-dai-dai, yai-da-dai-dai-dai, Yai do dai 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 dai. Kabbalat Shabbat starts on page 11. Let's go sing to Adonai. Here we go. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, ladonai. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, ladonai. Naria, naria, litzuri shenu. Nikad mafanav bitoda. Naria, naria, litzuri shenu. Bezmirot nirialo. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, ladonai. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, ladonai. Ki el gadol anu melech gadol, Elohim asher yadol, ki hu Eloheinu v'anachnu. Responsively, on page 12 at the marker, Arba'im Shana, Akut Bido, Vahoma, Am To'e Levavhe, Ve'em Lo Yadu, Dirachai, and together, Asher Nishbati V'Api, Im Yevaun El Menuchati. Yai dai yai dai dai yai yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai do dai yai do dai yai dai 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 yai do dai yai dai yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai dai. Page 13. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Shemo, Basu Miyom Liyom Yeshuato. Tzapu Vagoyim Kevodo, Bechol Hamim Niflotav. Ki gadol Adonai, u'me'olam me'od, norahu, al kol Elohim, ki kol Elohei hamim elilim, v'Adonai shamayim asa, hodeh hadar, lefanav oz v'tiferet, במקדשו הבו לאדוני, משפחות עמים הבו לאדוני, כבוד ועוז הבו לאדוני, כבוד שמו שאו מנחה, ובואו לחצרותיו. Page 14 at the marker, responsively, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel Haaretz, Yiram Hayam, Umelo, Yaloz Sadai, V'chol asher bo, Az Yiranenu, Kol Atzeya, Lifnei Adonai Kiva, Kiva Lishpot Haaretz, together Yishpot Tevel B'tzedek, Ve'amim Be'emunato. Yai, 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 Page 15. Adonai malach tagil haaretz yismechu yim rabim anava arafel sivivo tzedek umishpot Nechon kiso Esh levanav telem Hey tavel Hey iru verakav tevel Ra'ata v'tachel ha'aretz Harim kedorah Adonai nifana Adonai kol ha'aretz. Page 16 at the bottom. Or zaru la tzadik u'lishrei lev Simcha together, Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, ve'odu lezecher kodsho. On page 17, sing to Adonai a new song, for Adonai has worked wonders. Yai-da-da-da-da, yai-da-da-da, yai-da-da-da-da-da. Yai dai 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 yai yai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai yai dai dai yai dai yai dai Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash ki nifla'o asa. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash ki nifla'o asa. Yai dai dai yai dai yai dai dai yai dai dai yai Let's read together in English on page 18. Call out to Adonai, all the earth. Break out in joyful singing. Sing to Adonai to the music of the guitar. Guitar and voices making music together. With horns and shofar cries, trumpet the presence of the sovereign Adonai. Let the sea and all that is in it roar, the earth and all who inhabit it thunder. Let rivers clap hands while mountains sing in harmony, greeting Adonai who comes to judge the earth, judging the world with justice and the nations with truth. Lifnei Adonai kival lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel b'tzedek ve'amim b'mesharim. On page 20, exalt Adonai our God and bow down at God's holy mountain, for Adonai our God is holy. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtachavu le'akodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'akodsho romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'akodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Page 21. Mizmor LeDavid. Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim. Havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz. Havu l'Adonai V'hod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh kol Adonai amayim el hakavod hirim Adonai amayim rabim kol Adonai ba'koach Kol Adonai behadar Kol Adonai shover arazim V'yashaber Adonai Rar zehavanon Vayakidem kimo egel Levanon V'sirion kimo Ven remim kimo Ven remim Kol Adonai chotze lavodesh Kol Adonai mikol libar Kol Adonai libar kadesh Kol Adonai yachol el ayalot Vayechesov yarot Uvechalo kulo omer kavod kulo kavod Adonai lamabu yashav vayeshev Adonai melech leolam Adonai oz le'amo yitein Adonai yevorech et amo v'shalom Yai-ra-ra-i, 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 yai-ra-ra-i. It's our tradition here in Kabbalat Shabbat to sing a psalm for every day of the week. That was our Friday psalm. So the Friday psalm being completed. It's time to greet the Shabbos bride, page 23, Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabla Shamo v'zachor b'diborecha Yishmianu El HaMiyuchad Adonai Echad U'Shmo Echad L'Shem U'Tiferet V'Litila Le'Echad Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Nikabla Likrat Shabbat Lechu V'Nelcha Ki Mekor הברכה מראש מקדם, נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, מקדש מלך ימלוכה, קומצאי מתוך אפיך, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Page 25. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, והיו למשיסה סוסייך ורחקו, כל מבולייך יסיס עלייך, אלוהיך סוס חתן על קהלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. ימים שמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני, תריצי על יריש, בן פרצי ואני שמחה ונגילה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise and face the doorway to greet the Shabbos bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha uv'tzahala, toch amunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Having greeted the Shabbos bride, it's time for our psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot LaAdonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, lehagid baboker chasdecha, vemunarcha ba'aleilo, ale asav, ale naver, ale higaon bechinor. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot LaAdonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. כי שימחתני אדוני בפעליך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Page 28 at the markup. Tzadik katamar yivrach yifrach, tzadik katamar yivrach, Tzadik atema yivrach, yivrach, tzadik atema yivrach. Ke'eret bavanon niske, ke'eret bavanon niske, ke'eret bavanon niske, yiske. Ke'eret bavanon niske, ke'eret bavanon niske, ke'eret bavanon niske, yiske. Edotecha nemnu me'od levecha nava kodesh Adonai liorech yamim. And that's Kabbalat Shabbat. Mortar's Kaddish is found on page 30 in Lev Shalem. Those observing the Yortzeit or in mourning, please join me. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'yalma divra kiurtei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala v'izman kariv v'yimeru Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivorach le'olam u'l'olmei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yita'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei dekudusha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol Yoshvei Tevel v'yimeru. Amen.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay, Rabbi?
Parsha Vayetze is our Torah reading this Shabbat. And it's related to how do you get along with relatives you don't get along with. I hope that your Thanksgiving was peaceful, but there is this common concern that when we gather in Thanksgiving, whether in person or this year by Zoom, there may be the uncle or the other family member that has very different perspectives or that you might not have had some good experiences with. And Thanksgiving is the time for both tolerance and getting along. And so in this, the day after Thanksgiving, a teaching to relate to that challenge. Jacob has a difficult uncle, his mother's brother. His name is Lavan. And in Vayetze, Jacob leaves home. He comes and he meets this beautiful woman, Rachel. He wants to marry her. And her father, Uncle Lavan, says, "You want to marry my daughter? Be great. But you got to work 7 years." So he works 7 years. And on the night of his wedding, there's a ruse. And rather than marrying Rachel, the woman that he has joined in union with is her sister, Leah. And the next morning, Jacob is obviously upset. And he says to Uncle Lavan, "How could you have tricked me?" And Lavan says, "Don't you know in our culture, the oldest always marries before the youngest. If you want to marry the youngest as well, again in a culture of polygamy, if you want to marry Rachel as well, you can marry her now, but you must work another 7 years." And so he becomes the husband of Leah and Rachel. And after those 14 years of labor and doing well on behalf of Uncle Lavan, Jacob says, "I would like to earn some independence. I would like wages now that I've paid my debt for my wives." And Uncle Lavan says, "That's fine. You can have the lambs that are speckled and spotted, and they will be your reward. And then instructs his sons to remove the speckled sheep from the herd. Again, not acting, if you will, in best faith. Well, tensions grow. And after 6 years, Lavan says to his wives, Lavan's daughters, I'm out of here. We need to leave. Your father keeps changing my wages. He doesn't play it straight with me. I can't get along. And now we got to move fast because your father is away shearing the sheep. This is our chance to get away. And so Yaakov, whose name means the one who goes roundabout, also not so good at being direct, with his wives' consent, they take off. And Lavan hears about it and he comes chasing. And he comes to Jacob and he says, you left without giving me notice, and more. My precious terebinths, my house idol, you took. And Jacob says, how dare you accuse me of this? I did no such thing as steal from you. And you, throughout the years, took advantage of me, and that's why I left. Well, clearly, this is not a good meeting of family. And yet, they will reconcile. So I want to share with you the reconciliation. That's the continuation of chapter 31. They decide that they need to have a pact. Come, let us make a pact, you and I, that there may be a witness between you and me. Thereupon Jacob took a stone and set up as a pillar, and Jacob to his kinsmen said, gather stones. And now verse 47, the only Aramaic in the 5 books of Moses. Lavan named that place Yegar Shahaduta, which in Aramaic means the mound of stones. And Jacob named the mound of testimony of this agreement. And Jacob named it Gal Ed, which means in Hebrew, mound of testimony. And Lavan declared, this mound is a witness between you and me this day. That is why it is now named Gilad, and it was called Mitzpah. And now going forward, Lavan blesses his nephew. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, which is Abraham's brother, their ancestral deities, may they judge between us. And Jacob swore b'pachad aviv Yitzchak, according to the awe of his father Isaac. Jacob then offered up a sacrifice on the height, on this mound, and invited his kinsmen to partake of the meal. And after the meal, they spent the night on that mountain height together. So, to pull this together for tonight, the night after Thanksgiving, sometimes there are reasons to differ from even those who are family, and more. There is reason to have a collective history with others that create distrust and even animosity. And yet, our ancestors come to show us a way, a path forward, a path that creates agreements, covenant, not to let the past control the present, let alone the future, and do so with words that are spoken directly, but not about the areas of the hurt, rather about the areas of the future, defined by a present of agreement and more. That one, in this case Jacob, takes the initiative to make that Thanksgiving meal And in this case, Uncle Levan, to his credit, joins in the meal of covenant, the meal of celebration, and spends the night, lingers, reconciles. In the aftermath of a very heated election, someone said to me, "You're my rabbi," he said. "I need your help. How do I get along with people that I just don't understand, who so deeply upset me? The election is over, but I don't know how to move forward." For many of us, we have family who have different political views, or friends, or beyond politics. There are areas of disagreement. And so, Uncle Levan and his nephew Jacob demonstrate a path forward for all of us to express the hopes for the future, to memorialize it, to make a meal and share it, and to linger. Ribono Shalom, Master of the Universe, on this, the night after Thanksgiving, may we celebrate our bounty, which is more than all the good food on the table. It's the people we would want to have around the table with us too. In some cases, those we may have differed from. May we reconcile to at least agree that being family matters, that friendship matters, that we can move together with words that look forward in celebration. May we live with thanksgiving and reconciliation. Amen.
Amen. Our call to prayer is found on page 39A. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam voed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn. Living and ever-present God, may your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yon uvein laila, Adonai tzvahot shmo. Chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu li'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari v'aravim.
Amen.
Page 40. Avad olam bet Yisrael, Amecha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochveinu u'v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, li'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני. אוהב עמו ישראל. 41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha, ובכל נפשך, ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, קשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
והיה אם שמוע תשמעוהם ושפתי שם זבדיכם ולמדו בכל נפשכם. ונתתי מתרצכם בתורים והכוש וסף לגניך תשך וצריך ונתתי עשב וסף ולגניך וזבת תשך פעניתן חסרתן ומשה למערף ולך שמיים לא תיתן את שלום ולמשל לא ייתן לך לבעיה וכל נפשכם וקשרתם לבניכם מבין עיניך ונזם ומלך ודרך שלך ובניך וזם אשריך ומה מבניך מה שלום מגיעים שם ולאר ושמורנים וסר לציצית על כנפי בניין מדור את המנות ציצית הגנות לכן ויחם לציצית ויתן אותה שפתם וכל שפתי שפתם לא תטורו כל לכם ובניכם וזה מה תזכו וספק שלכם לך של סיירי ונעליכם אמת
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 43b and 44, let's read together in English. You proclaimed the covenant on the seventh day. You declared it and decreed it. We listened and heard it. You loved this day we inherited, delighting in its remembrance, and began its command with the word, remember, Zachor. From the time you bestowed it, joy filled the hearts of Jeshurun, the people you redeemed. Securing the cause of righteousness, you exalted Shabbat as a sign between us forever. In 6 days your world was formed, on the seventh day you rested. And on this day, Israel, your people rest. To honor your name, they sing songs of praise to the one deserving of praise, willingly accepting God's sovereignty. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people Israel joyfully sang unto you, Who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praise, working wonders? מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא נורא תהילות עושה פלא מלכותך רבניך מבוקר יום לפני משה, זה אלינו ואמרו, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov. Ugalom yachazak mimenu. Baruch ata Adonai. Gal Yisrael. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Ushmor Tzetenu Shalom, me'ata v'ad olam, ufros aleinu. Sukat shlomecha. Baruch ata Adonai hapore sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim v'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Amen.
Page 46. V'shamiru b'nei Yisrael HaShabbat La'atzor et HaShabbat L'dorotam b'rit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Ki sheshet yamin asa Adonai Et hashamayim v'et haaretz Uvayom hashvi shava vayinafash Yitkadav yitkadash shmei rabbo Ve'alma divra kirutev yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'v'yomechon U'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael Ba'agala u'vizman kariv V'meru Amen Yehei shmei rabbo mevorach Le'olam u'olmei ha'maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitaleh v'yithalal Shmei l'kudusha Leila min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damira b'yalma v'meru Amen.
In a moment, we will recite our private prayer, the Amidah, and I tend to offer a reflection during this silent period. So I invite you to consider one person who you may have wished to have had at your Thanksgiving table, although you have had some tension with, and how in anticipating what that could have been like, what you would have found in common. Pages 47 to 52.
ועושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן. 53. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעמוד דבר גאותה וימליך מלכותה בחייכם ובימיכם ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגל ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמא יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה ברכו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלות הון אבות הון דכל ישראל קדם אבות הון דבשמיא, ואמרו אמן. ישלם הרבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו amen.
Our custom in our community is to bless our children, which is traditionally done at the Shabbat table. But this is our opportunity to bless our children together. And we, for sons, say,
Yisimcha Elohim ki Ephraim v'chi Menashe. May God make you like Ephraim and Menashe.
and for daughters we say, Yisimech Elohim Kesar Rivka Rachel Leah. May God make you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. And Carl and I bless our own children, and we
Yours
invite
too.
you to bless yours. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei puri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'hava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'mase v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikrahei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki Vanu vacharta, beotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, b'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekahadesh ha-shabbat.
Amen. Aleinu is found on page 56. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kagoye ha'aratzo, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishpacharim modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Noteh Shamayim V'Yoser Haaretz U'Moshe V'Karo B'Shamayim Imaha U'Shchinatu Zo B'Govei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Heino Emet Malkeinu Efes Zulato ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך. כי אדוני הוא אלוהים, בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Tomorrow we will be joined virtually by the community at Heritage Point, at which time I will announce the yurt sites in honor of some of those residents. Tonight, I share the names of the yurt sites of our community of Congregation B'nai Israel before the recitation of Kaddish Yatom. We observe, among others, the yurt sites of Yonah Collin, Hyman Ehrenstein, Rose Litwar, Joe Dragutsky, Denise Raquel Cooper, Benjamin Feynman, Harriet Modilewski, Sadie Zelda Messi, Frank Krepke, Bernice Eisen, Moshe Maimon, Dick Sklar, Ruth Happ, Hilda Kogan, Morris Raskin, Beth Shankman, Rita Feldman, Rosalie Gale, Racha Eblinger, Millie Groner, Jenny Furman, Ann Cohan, Renee Cram. If you're in mourning or observing a yurt site, I invite you to join together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bi'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. B'agalau v'yizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach. Leolam omeo maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal. Shemei de kudsha berichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma v'imramein, yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imramein, osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. We're now post-Thanksgiving, which means we're kind of in the straits for a little while in terms of holidays, but not too far from Hanukkah. We're already in the month of Kislev. Hanukkah is the 25th of Kislev. We still have a few weeks to go. And during the celebration of Hanukkah, we at CBI will be sponsoring an extraordinary band, Hot Pastrami, led by Yael Strom, who is one of the leading musicologists and klezmer musicians. And Hot Pastrami is a nationally celebrated musical group, although based largely in San Diego. They play all over the country, even the world. And we will have from our Bima.
Oh.
But it'll be broadcast to our community and to the larger world, and that there won't be a cost for tuning in, but an opportunity to donate as a sponsor in advance. So do go to our website, www.cbi18.org, to learn the details of that Sunday night of Hanukkah celebration, the opportunity to make a contribution if you would like, and to see all the other opportunities for prayer and study in the course of the week. Any additional announcements?
No, just a comment.
Okay.
Yesterday at our Thanksgiving table, my son David, we were going around talking about things we were grateful for, and David was grateful for connectivity. And I just wanted to echo that and say how thankful I am for everything that Luis Garcia and Helene and our team do to connect us, you and I, Rabbi, to our congregation. And that's very special to me, and I'm grateful for that.
Well, let me just echo and say this opportunity of coming into your homes and celebrating Shabbat is indeed one of those joys of Shabbat, as well as sharing this with Carl.
A wish for your Shabbos table. May the good angels come and bless you on this Shabbos. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem LeShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Mile Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzirchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yai rai rai, yai rai rai rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai rai rai, yai. Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom, Carl.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom,
Shalom.
everyone.
Have a lovely time.